Hello everybody, it's David R. Becker here again with BeckerArt, and I'm here to explain a little bit to you about blurred edges in watercolor. Many artists, teachers don't really teach a lot about trying to get soft edges in your work, and it's probably one of those things that is really hard to do in watercolor, but once you get that effect in your watercolors, you can do some amazing things with dimension in your watercolors. So let me just go show you a few reasons why I want you to learn how to use soft edges and blur edges. So here's a picture by an artist or by a photographer, Dino from Unsplash, where I pick up these images from. And so this is a scene that if a photographer takes, a lot of times everything's in focus. Their depth of field is very high def, and a lot of artists are actually painting a lot of these scenes where everything is in high def, where everything is very sharp. And I just want to show you another way of doing things and another way of creating kind of emotion and dimension in your work. So here, again, everything, if you look, everything is in focus, everything. Even these mountains way back there, you can actually see there's actually trees or rock formations back here. And you see that it's very, very in focus. The sky right here is in focus. Everything's pretty much in focus. Well, as an artist, you can take those things and make them a little bit, create a little bit more dimension than just making it look like the photograph, and pushing things back and forward to give a nice effect of dimension. You know, you can either do soft edges, you can do color. There's many different things, and I'm gonna one day I'll explain to you about Peacock, a way of showing dimension, but that's another it's another video. So let me just show you what I'm talking about here. Is that if I take it and I now take this one and bring this one forward, you can see what I had done. I had then blurred out some of the image, so that it would look like this is farther back. So now, doesn't it look like this is farther back in the dimension, farther back? This and the side here, all blurred and given a blurred effect. And so how do you get those edges? Would be wet into wet and creating a soft edge, which is harder in watercolor to do. So many artists do the easy way out, and then that is to just make it a hard edge. And you could also keep this area lower in contrast. So if I made this not so dark back there and still had hard edges, that would give the impression of being soft edged if you make the values just slightly lighter or darker than the sky. So if this was a little bit lighter and it was hard edge, it would still have the same effect as if I'm actually blurring it, like I blurred this. So let me go to another picture here. And so this picture right here, to show you how you can work this with composition. So compositionally, this is just you know, a shot with everything in focus. It's just a shot of some people. Again, this was taken from Unsplash by Clayton Cardinelli, who is a photographer. And it's great for some shots and stuff, but if for an artist and a painter, you'd like to make some things more emotional and get things to look a little bit more painterly. I don't want to paint the picture to look like this, because this is not that great. If I just paint it the way it was, that wouldn't be that great a shot, right? I mean, it's not that big a deal for you know, people sitting around a conference table looking at a computer. But if I take it, and if you look at this, what I'll do is I'll take this down here. And so I made it black and white, cropped it a little bit, and just this is very intensely to show you the idea of, you know, how important are these people back here. And if I blurred them, and if I wanted them out of the picture kind of thing, I can still make it about these two people and give it more of a story. And I don't have to blur them out that much as I did here. And if you look at this, I kind of blurred them out real lot. And so let me just use my little thing here. So actually, let me just open this up a little bit. And so if you look, this is, you know, them in focus now. And I make it black and white. Also, you can see the value pattern. I want you to always look for a value pattern in your work. And so here now, these two people didn't have to be this far blurred, but I did that on purpose. I want you to see that how important are these two people in here? Wasn't it about these two people looking at this computer? And now it's actually kind of like it almost tells a story, like these two people are, there's something on there that's pretty funny, or they're looking at it. And so here, these two people, yes, it would, but if I have four people all looking and stuff, then there's too much of a story, and actually there's no dimension then, and everything's in focus. And so it's nice to have some things out of focus. I didn't have to go this far, but just to prove a point that how often you really need these people in there. So it gives you a nice look. You see these two people in focus, and I could have made his arm a little bit more in focus. I think that would have been better. But again, it's just an example of what I'm talking about, trying to you can make something out of any photograph that you ever put out there. You can make something out of it, and sometimes it's just by blurring art areas that you really don't need. Like these people are not as necessary in this composition. They could be in there, a little bit harder to paint then if you put them in there. And soft edge, that'd be pretty hard to paint because you're all working wet into wet and you're trying to get it all soft edge, or keep them down in contrast. So the more contrast you have something, the more it puts it into focus and makes it important. Okay, so these two people right here are not important right here and here. So what I'm trying to do is make the focus on these two. So again, this is just a way of using composition and using blur edges and working wet into wet, which I always talk about. And this week, when we do our paint along, this week we are focusing in on blurring or even putting it hard edged, but making it feel like it's soft edged in the background and pushing things back, pushing things out of focus so they don't matter as much, and let the center of interest, the part that is really important, come forward and be your center of interest and not have to deal with competing against something else that's in interest. It's just a very simple way of really making these two people in here, look at how important they have become. And if you look again with this one right here, if I go back, look at how important everybody is. Let me just bring this back up. But here, everybody's important and everything. So what are you looking at? I guess you could make it this way too, and then it would be this group of people that would be in focus, and maybe she's put her in the background, make her a little bit lighter. So it still could be done many different ways. I'm just here to show you over exaggerating the whole thing and making it so that this is really what you want to paint, and so that it gives you an idea of how to make things out of focus. All right, so that's just our lesson today. Really short tip on learning how to take and make things and blur them out of your composition if they're not that important. All right, and so come by on Thursday at my YouTube channel. I will put the link into the newsletter, and you can see actually in the description here of the YouTube video, and you can come and paint with us on Thursday and I'll show you how I use soft blurred edges to make your composition really look more moody and more, has more dimension in it. All right, and so we'll see you Thursday. And again, if you ever need any information or other tips, go to my my website at BeckerArt.net or davidrbecker.com. All right, thanks a lot, and see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.